Welcome to the Sheer Business Inspiration podcast and vlog. I'm Jo Faraday, and in today's episode 6, I'm going to be chatting to Olly Magnus. Olly's not only the CEO of the Magnus Group, he has also become a beacon of light for those who struggle with imposter syndrome and feelings of self-doubt. Olly's no stranger to heartbreak and has had to face his own challenges head on, and I just can't wait to chat further with him. So without further ado, here's the chat with Olly. Thanks for listening. Hi and welcome to episode 6 of the Sheer Business Inspiration podcast and vlog. I'm really excited to have Olly Magnus with us today. Thanks for joining us, Olly.
Thank you, Jo. Thanks for asking me.
No problem at all. And we will get into the nitty-gritty shortly, but I just want for our audience to understand a little bit more about you. You are CEO of Magnus Group, but there are many layers to all of us as individuals. So I just wanted to, if you can just give us a brief overview about your backstory and your journey to date, really.
Okay. So my father started this business in 1973, and I worked here for a couple of years in, I think it was 2002. And it was kind of an opportunity for me to go through the grow with the business, but it wasn't really for me, to be honest. When you work for your dad, it kind of goes one of two ways. They either fast track you or they don't speak to you, and he took the latter option. So I went traveling to Australia, came back, and then started a freight forwarding business with somebody I'd known for a long time. And in 2018, my father died, just coinciding with the time that I had quite an acrimonious fallout of my business. So I sold my 50% in that business and then took the opportunity to buy my father's business partner out, 40% of the business with my own money. My father very kindly told me he was leaving me, in his words, well, I won't tell you what his words were because it was swear words, but nothing. And he was true to his word. So I took the option to invest in Magnus Group, which at the time was a big gamble, and it probably still is regarded as a big gamble, but I kind of needed to get out of where I was before. Opportunity knocks. The opportunity was there for me, and I'm a big believer in fate, and here I am now, really. So
amazing. Well, that's an incredible story, and a gutsy one at that. As a business owner myself, I know it's not for the faint-hearted, is it, running a business? It's not,
no,
and in especially the last 12 months, on top of everything else, you feel like you're jumping through a million hoops, let alone 10. So so it's admirable that you took that decision. But what have been your key learnings? Because you've obviously had a business prior. Was your father's, I'm sorry to hear about your father's passing, but was your father's passing something that motivated you to take on his business? Was that the reason, or?
Honestly, yes and no. I was in a situation that I desperately was unhappy in my previous business, and it was just the timing of it. And it was, Magnus Group used to be a big business. It had been around for 40 whatever years, and it had just flatlined. It was just, I always refer to it as being on the ropes. It was, the name was here, the legacy was there. It just needed a bit of care and attention and drive and ambition. I mean, it severely lacked any ambition, any drive. My dad had pretty much nothing to do with it for the previous 5 years before he died. Didn't get on with his business partner at all. They didn't really speak. And I just come in and saw an opportunity, but the opportunity was there because I was in the right place at the right time. But I was a Magnus, so to come into a family business that is established and have the drive and the ambition, and to bring people with me who share the same ethos as I do was it was a big punt, to be honest. I invested a lot of money into it, and hopefully we're getting there now, but there's been a few hairy moments for sure.
I think that's the thing, though, isn't it? You say about having the right team with you. I mean, you can't emphasize that enough, can you? The business isn't just about the owner, it's about the whole group of people that help move it forward. So I absolutely agree with you. You can't do that without them. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? If you haven't got a joined up approach, then it's not gonna, that boat's not gonna move, is it? So
no, absolutely.
or truck. We should say truck, shouldn't we? That truck's not gonna move.
Yeah, I mean, I came from a business that, in my opinion, and then the opinion of others, had no structure. There was just the two directors, and then it was always referred to as a flat structure. I never agreed with it because I think you need a team of people. But to create a team of people, you've got to trust those people. And if they know that you trust them, they work a lot harder. And when I left, there was no real structure in that business. And then I've come into this business where, if you'd done an organogram of it, it'd have been like a lamppost. There was a managing director. The guy I bought the shares from, he lived in Cumbria. He'd come in one day a month, throw a few hand grenades. But there was just nothing there. As I said, there was no drive and ambition. So I came in with a pretty much preconceived plan that I wanted to build a structure with departmental heads.
Yes.
I always refer to it as experts. My background was freight forwarding. That was my previous business. So I have an understanding of transport, warehousing, freight, all that sort of thing, but I'm not an expert in any of them. So the option was to come in and try and fudge it, but I actually took the decision to bring in guys who were experts at what they do. Yes, there's an additional cost to that, so that made it an even bigger gamble, but that was my belief, and to create that team. And I'm really fortunate in the guys that have come in. I've worked with them all before, so I always say, one of the things I say is, be nice to everyone on the way up, because you might need them on the way down.
It's so true. It
really is so true.
Yeah,
I mean,
true. One of my colleagues that I work with, well, actually all of my colleagues that I work with now in Sheer Edge, I've worked with historically in past working lives. So you do it, and it does come full circle, and things do happen that way. Like you say, it's almost like it's fate. People are drawn to you for a reason, aren't they? And
well, you say people they refer to it as missold PPI here. So, that I've missold the dream. No, but they're only joking. But yeah. So I dealt with all these guys as suppliers of mine, and but bringing them here was quite a coup. They all were. They could have gone anywhere else, but they believed in the opportunity in the same way I did. Clearly I'm good at selling things, but I always say I'm not. But because I've got these guys to come in, and without them, we'd be in a totally different place now. So I wanted that team. I've got the team. I'm probably 12 months ahead of where I thought I would be.
Amazing.
Getting that team in. And we've seen opportunities, we've taken them, and then just taken the next step rather than trying to stay where we are. I've been trying to grow all the time, and by bringing these good people in, there's exponential growth, isn't there? So the problem with that is trying to keep up with it. From going from where we were as a business on the ropes to suddenly, I mean, the turnover's gone up here 150% in 14 months.
I was going to say, how, because of the nature of your business, how has the pandemic affected your business? Has it elevated it, or what, has it had any impact in that respect at all?
Yeah, we've benefited on the back of it. You know, having I'm an inherent gambler, and next door became available, and another warehouse became available, and it was probably, with hindsight, it was a bit of a mad decision, to be honest, because it doubled the size. We had 100,000 square foot here, and then 105,000 became available next door, and it doesn't come around very often. So again, it was an opportunity. Took it. At the time, I was quite, yeah, we'll be fine. We'll fill this, no problem. We got lucky with a couple of things. A couple of bits of business fell on our lap, and we took them on, and that allowed me to then employ one of the directors here now, Mark Oakley, who came in to head up the warehousing. He was probably my first expert that I've brought in, but I brought him in, and then he's bought a 3-year contract with him, or not with him. Within 3 weeks he's got it. So with COVID, we were just in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, but you had, and I think the thing is, you probably will do yourself a bit of a disservice, but at the end of the day, you've got everything you need to fulfill that, and that's what it's about, isn't it? It's making sure that you do what you say you're going to do, you fulfill it, and then your clients are happy, and then that continues and it snowballs. And I think it's not going to just fall in your lap. You're going to work hard to get it, aren't you? That's the nature of the beast.
Yeah, you have to make your own luck, don't you?
Yes.
However, it was quite a ballsy decision.
Yes, absolutely. But it's paying off, so that's great news, isn't it?
So. I hope so. Yeah. So yeah, it's just right time.
Yeah. Let's address another important factor, because it isn't business related, but it's a really important thing to discuss. And I think, we're in the midst of Mental Health Awareness Week right now, and you've been really extremely brave in being quite vocal about how things have affected you, your journey to date, and I wonder if you could share a little bit about that, and because I think it might help other people, who may be feeling or have felt the same way.
Yeah, there's a common theme here of me being brave, isn't there? I don't know whether it's brave or stupid. There's a fine line between the two, but yeah, no, I kind of took the decision to be honest with things that had gone on in my life. I mean, I've had a pretty varied life. People who know me know I've had pretty serious accident, things like that, and I've had a bad business fallout, and it just the opportunity. Yeah, it started as just saying the odd comment, and then you kind of realize there's so many people out there. You come out of a business relationship that's fallen apart, that was very hurtful, because I'd known the person I'd been for a long time, and in my view it was handled horrendously, to be honest. But you come out of there thinking, yeah, I'm the only person that's happened to. But it's amazing how many people have been through the same things. I mean, I put on about imposter syndrome, and that seemed to resonate with a lot of people, and a lot of people have fallen out with business partners. There's just so many different parts of life that I don't get why people can't just talk about it and be honest.
I think historically, probably the reason, because especially being male, and that's the elephant in the room, isn't it? You used to shove it under the carpet, or bury it, and I know from past experience, that there's things that have happened in my life, and I've buried it so far down there that you hope it doesn't come back, and it does. It manifests itself in lots of different ways, and I think the most important thing to do is talk, or ask for help, or seek out that support
mechanism, and I think it's really important to talk about it. I think it's essential to talk about it. I think the less that people do talk, it manifests in lots of different ways which aren't necessarily great. So yeah, to be applauded for being vocal about it, and it's important to do that, I think.
Yeah, when I first started, I used to get a bit of grief. I've had some fairly horrible messages from people who don't know me to start with.
Good old trolls.
Yeah, and
don't you love a troll on social media?
Well, no, I don't actually.
that was being sarcastic.
Yeah, I know you were. But you know what? You kind of just deal with it, and it's nowhere near as bad as it was, to be honest. I think I got a bit of grief locally from friends that I've known for a long time. Yeah, in a kind of take the piss sort of way. But I found that quite hard because there's people who've known me for a long time, and they're the people that are kind of probably giving me the least support.
That is hard, isn't it? Then you know,
especially when they know the situations that I have had. I have had a pretty rough ride, but then everyone has. That's the message, isn't it? That everyone's had a rough ride, so why don't we talk about it and share it,
and also support each other and lift each other up? I think that's the other thing, isn't it? People are so quick to judge and comment, aren't they? And not really listen to what that message is, and not make it about them. It's about what you're trying to say. And I think I think you keep doing you, Olly. I don't think people that are supporting you think that you're doing anything wrong but I think it's important to be vocal the way you have. There has been record numbers of individuals starting up their own business in the last 12 months. And I think I applaud them, and I understand why, because there's been mass redundancies through lots of different industries. The hospitality and events industry have had a really rough time of it, and lots of people have either retrained or thought, well, I'm going to make an opportunity here. What advice would you give to any newbie business owners at this time?
Oh, good question. I would always say, if you believe in something, you've got to follow your gut feel, haven't you? And also never die wondering. If you sit there and you say, I wish I'd done this, I wish I'd done that. Life's too short, isn't it? If you firmly believe in something, then you've got to go for it, and you can't do it half measured. You have to, if you're going to do it, you're going to have to put everything into it, because you get out what you put in. But you always have, you have. I always say that, if you don't believe in yourself, why would anyone else? And that's a problem I've had for many years, is believing in myself. So how can I expect people to believe in me if I don't believe in myself? If you're going to run a business, you've just got to work really hard, but also take risks. You have to take risks, but calculated risks. Don't take reckless. There's me talking about reckless risks. And I've taken some pretty reckless ones. But I've got lucky, and it doesn't always work out that way. But if you take a risk that you firmly believe and you follow your gut, I always say follow your gut feel, because you can't blame anyone else if it goes wrong.
Yeah, and I've always, there's times when I was younger, I ignored it, and it was the silliest thing ever, because you sort of, it comes back and you're like, oh yeah, I should have just listened to what I felt at the time. And I totally agree with you. I think living a life with regrets is haunting, isn't it? What if syndrome. No, thank you, I don't want that for my life, thanks. No. So that's great advice. Who and what inspires you, Olly?
Who and what inspires me? Well, my dad obviously inspires me. That's a no-brainer. Well, I would say, to be honest, the experts that I've got in to work for me, because they don't work for me, they work with me.
With you, yeah.
Mark, Matt and Martin, they're all really good guys. and you know, we inspire each other. We're a great team. We all get on really well. I think that's important.
Yeah.
There's no egos here.
Yeah.
Really, you know, you suddenly throw an ego into the boardroom, then that's
get laughed out.
yeah, it's pretty dangerous, you know.
Yeah.
But there's no egos, and we're all trying to row the boat in the same direction, because all of us have got something to prove. You know, that's the great thing about this team, is everybody's come in and have got their own agendas and something to prove, but we're all absolutely on the same page of making this place a success. And the opportunity here is endless. It really is. And I came from a business that pretty much had a ceiling of where it could go. We probably hit that 3 or 4 years ago, but we were just an agent there. Here, I'm in control of my own warehousing, my own transport, we've got the freight forwarding department. So the growth opportunities are much greater. But we all just have to push in the right direction. It's absolutely not easy. Don't get me wrong. It's hard work, but it's such a big beast here that there's such small margins, positive or negative, make such a difference. It's like pushing a snowball up the hill at the moment, to be honest. But we're nearly at the top of the hill, so it's a lot of hard work, and we're definitely getting there.
That's good. Well, that's good to hear, because I think, you know, like you say, it's not if it was easy, Ollie, everybody would do it, wouldn't they? So I wish you every success with it, and I think it's really admirable what you're doing, and I think it's great, your ethos. I think that's something to be applauded as well, and I think, like you say, the old hats vibes of the powerhouse boardroom, that's decimating. It's about the team, isn't it, and how you can collectively move forward. What message could you give our audience for the rest of this year? What sprinklings of positivity would you like to give to our audience?
Don't gamble as much as I did, because you don't sleep. Try and sleep. Positivity is listen, that again, it goes back to backing yourself and taking calculated risks. If you don't buy a ticket, you don't win the raffle, do you? So if you're not happy doing what you're doing, then find a way of doing something that makes you happy, because life is way too short. I sit here right now and think I wasted a lot of my life in something that didn't make me happy, where I wasn't valued, if you like. And I'm now working harder than I ever did, but I enjoy it. I earn a lot less money than I did before, but I enjoy it a hell of a lot more, and that's so much more important than how much money you earn.
Do you think, though, you have to have experienced what you did to know what now makes you happy? Like, if you hadn't experienced that, do you think this would have happened this way?
I was there for 15, 16 years, of which, there were some good times. It ended, as I said, unnecessarily badly. That's a story for another day of when I write my book. But I learned so much from that. You learn something every day.
You do. Absolutely. Every day is a school day, isn't it?
It is, and that's so true. And I learned some really good things, but I learned a lot of things of how not to do things. I'm absolutely not perfect. Listen, I've got more weaknesses than strengths, but one of my strengths is I understand my weaknesses. So it's about I'll talk about this cognitive diversity of building a team of different strengths and weaknesses. If you think you don't have any weaknesses, then that's your biggest one right there, isn't it? So it's about about building this team of people who, and you cover all bases, different voices. If you have all the same voices in the boardroom, then you all come up with the same ideas. Doesn't mean they're actually the right solution, does it?
No, and I think especially in the climate we're in, you have to be agile and you have to adapt. And I think always do it. It's the age-old phrase, isn't it? If you always do what you've always done, you'll never get, you'll never get what you want to get.
Yeah, so I banned that from, well, we've always done it that way.
Yeah, no, it's the worst phrase ever, isn't it?
But the reason you're not successful is because you've always done it that way.
Yeah.
So, one thing I've done here is I've tried to do things a bit differently. Personally, I'm slightly different anyway.
Yeah.
But as a business, you need to stand out from the crowd. Do things differently. The green, and I bought that. I'm big on identity and brand awareness. Boxers promote themselves. Why don't businesses enough? And it's all down to marketing, getting the name out there. No publicity is bad publicity unless it's something pretty bad.
Yeah.
But if I've done one thing here, I've certainly raised the profile of Magnus Group.
Yeah.
Which it wasn't a business that has started from nothing. It's been around for a little while, so it was just a bit of tweaking, if you like, but changing the branding so it stood out. 18 months ago the trucks were all white and you just didn't notice them. They're now black and green.
It's great work. I reckon it's so recognizable. So yeah, I agree.
It's not rocket science, is it?
But
it's just change your brand.
It's putting things in place, isn't it? That's the thing. Yeah. So what's next for you, Olly? Obviously you're going to be motoring along in your business, but what are your aspirations for this year and beyond?
Well, so now I feel like we've turned the corner, or we're close to turning the corner. It's about rebuilding the business, because we've had to, Mark has a great saying here of you have to rip it up to start again.
Yeah.
So we've had to do that department by department. 2 out of the 3 are probably where they need to be. So, but once you've ripped it up and you get on a solid footing, then it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
We've invested a lot in the last 18 months to get to where we are now. So it's about getting back on an even keel. I'm really ambitious, honestly, what I want to do. I want to place in the Midlands. My ultimate aim in life is an office in Sydney.
Amazing.
That's where my dad was from.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the
aim.
Yeah,
you'll get there. That's the thing, isn't it? You've got to have these plans and visions, because if you don't have them, you sort of search aimlessly anyway, don't you? Whereas if you've got your vision, then that's your goal. That's what your dream is. So here's to that office in Sydney. That's what I say.
Yeah. Well, I feel I've achieved then when I've got my office in Sydney. So.
Wish you every success with it, Olly, and thanks ever so much for your time today. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Jo.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much, Olly, for taking the time to chat with me today. I know our audience will really, really be thankful for you sharing your journey and being brave and honest about your journey to date. So thanks so much, and we wish you every success with Magnus Group. If you're enjoying our podcast and vlog, please do subscribe to the Sheer Edge Business Inspiration podcast and vlog on our YouTube channel. You will see all the other episodes and more content on there, so hope to see you on there soon. We are also on social media, so please do feel free to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn and Pinterest. Really would love to hear your thoughts and any ideas or feedback on the episode so far, who you'd like to hear from next. Please do feel free to get in touch with us at hello@sheeredge.co.uk. Our next guest, I'm really happy to say, is Skevi Konstantinou, and she is the founder and creator of the PA Way. and she has got so much to talk about in a small space of time. She's really breaking down barriers for the administrative industry, and we really